Hello everyone, Solonarv here and welcome to some more World of Warcraft. Excuse me, World of Warcraft. With a slightly different episode, because, typically I've just been doing dungeon crawls where I just take one of my characters already logged in and just at the start of a dungeon and run through it. This time I'm going to do something different. This time I'm going to go through all of my characters and basically just show them off. Okay, so this is my paladin. This is my main character. He was my first 85 back in Cataclysm, and he was my basically he's been my main character since a few weeks after the start of Cataclysm. Okay, so we are in the Timeless Isle right now, which was introduced with the latest patch. Wow, words! I can't speak today, can I? And basically is an isle that allows you to farm stuff. So what did I just do? I put on a bunch of buffs. This one is a class buff. This one is a rare item, a rare drop that mimics a druid ability, which basically lets the druid get one ability from the class of the guy he's casting it on, and inversely as well. So basically, if a druid casts this on me, I get Barkskin, which basically is like a short duration, short cooldown damage taken reduction. Okay, and the other three buffs I used are consumables that only work here on the Timeless Isle, and that are quite frequent drops. They last an hour and they give various procs. One of them procs like a 60k heal. One of them procs a 100k damage, like when you use an ability. And the last one procs an 8000 stat boost. And here's a rare boss, which I narrowly missed. Well, whatever. And yeah, so as you might be able to see if you know World of Warcraft, and not if you don't, I'm a protection paladin, which means I'm in a tank spec, and for some reason power auras suddenly started working again, which is that's like the add-on that gives these extra effects here. It's kinda old, and then Blizzard added like their own version of that, and that's why I just saw 4 shields all around me. And with these buffs and with the good self-healing my class offers, I'm able to solve pretty much everything here. And I've honestly kinda stopped farming here once I reached a certain goal, and I can't recall what it was, but yeah, he's really cool. My other spec is Retribution, simply because I can't be bothered to farm up the gear for 2 different specs, and Haste is like the main stat for both of these, and Mastery is a good second, so I don't really like. I can use pretty much the same stat priorities and be good. Where with healing, I have to get a completely different set of equipment, because healing uses intellect and the other 2 specs use strength. Okay, so I'm not gonna explain how these classes work, by the way. I'm gonna assume you know that already or have seen it, because you've seen me do dungeons with them, because I think I've done most of my characters. And yeah. So I'm gonna log out of this character now and switch to the next character in line, and I'll be right back. Okay, here we are on my mage, and I've decided that I wouldn't embarrass myself by guessing whether or not I've used a character. I've done a dungeon crawl with a character yet, and instead, bring up my actual list of uploads on like my second monitor. So I haven't actually made a dungeon crawl with her yet, as you can, I suppose, guess, even if you don't know World of Warcraft. She's a frost mage, because those spells look all frosty. like with what, 2-3 exceptions. Um, and yeah, so basically what happened with my mage, I leveled her to 90, and then I just flew to the shrine here, and then I just stopped playing it. Like, I logged out and I pretty much haven't logged in ever since. I might have like logged in once to send timeless gear over to her, but that's all that happened. Now, why? Quite simply because leveling sucks in Pandaria. Like, it took me literally half a minute or more to kill a mob, which is way too long. Like, the typical time that I'm used to calculating with, and that works like everywhere except in like the last 3/4 of mists, is roughly 15 seconds to kill a mob, give or take, like depending on class, but lag spikes. So yeah, it really shouldn't take like a minute. How do I know it's a minute? Because this thing here, which I can use this thing here on somewhere between every and every second mobs, and this has a 1 minute cooldown. So yeah. So I really, and at the end, like, you get more powerful, but the mobs gain power more quickly than you, so you end up taking more and more time to kill them. So at the start of it, when you've just reached Pandaria, you're like, oh awesome, like there's these mobs and I'm just crushing them. Especially if you have some good equipment left over from the previous expansion, which I did. And then it's just like, well, no, your awesome gear gets crappier and crappier, as is normal. You get replacement gear through quests, which obviously compared to your level isn't quite as good as the gear you had before, and the mobs get tougher more quickly than you get tougher, and they aren't actually difficult, they just take forever to kill. Like, a mob would have like, what, 500,000 health? Actually, if it takes me like 20 seconds to kill a mob, that's at 25,000 DPS. That's about 500,000 health. So yeah, that's a lot, and it's too much, I think. So yeah, Blizzard, like, please fix this. You don't need to make the mobs like 3-shottable, like actually nowhere. But well, I've been rambling. So, quick rundown of what a Frost Mage does. Basically you have this Frostbolt, which is like a bolt of frost. Wow, such description, so explained. Oh, there's a bunch of dummies here. Let me demonstrate. So basically you start out with your Frostbolt, and I'm gonna use this one. Frostbolt, and then you apply like your debuff, whichever one you've chosen. And you just spam Frostbolt until you get procs, which is like this. And these icicles there, like, okay, I call them icicles because I know that they're called icicles. Basically you get them when you use your Frostbolt and they store a part of the damage. And you can get, and you have this spell here which does like crappy damage unless the target is frozen, in which case it does stupid amounts of damage, because it does 4 times as much damage, and it's close to guaranteed to crit, and it's gonna unleash all your icicles. You've also got a chance to proc this spell here, which normally takes quite long and does decent damage, to be instant. So that's neat as well. And that's the basic rotation. Like, you've got your water elemental, which basically spams like small, like this spell. You can also tell him to like do this, and it freezes enemies and gives you a charge of the buff that makes your spells act like the target's frozen. And that's pretty much it. Basically you just spam Frostbolt, and whenever something procs, you use it and you keep up your debuff, whichever one it is. And I actually spec the wrong one, but it doesn't matter. And yeah, that's it. You've got a handful of cooldowns, but that's not really a big deal. Okay, let me switch to my next character now, because I've been spending too much time on this character. I have 11 characters to get to, and I've spent almost 6 minutes on this one. Let's quickly do the rest. I'll switch to my next character, who is also interesting, and I'll be right back. And here we go, here's my Death Knight, who is also on Timeless Isle. But if you look at his level right here, I'm not level 90, I'm level 87. How is this? Well, it basically... Go away. Go away. It basically happens because of this ability, which lets me walk over water. And I saw a video of Vex explaining how... Ow, 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 ow. Damn it! Explaining how to get to Timeless Isle before level 90, which I did, and oh, come on, resurrect me. And then I spec'd myself in such a way as to be able to actually level in here. I started at... When I came here I was... Whatever. When I started, when I came here I was level 86 with like 80% XP, and as you can see now I'm level 87 with 52% XP. That all came from the same mob camps. And let me bring up my recording software so I can see how long this is taking. And as you can see, and as I'm repeating, I'm spec'd for Frost. Why is this? Because Frost is actually ideal for the type of for how you farm, for how you level here, which is using these guys. Basically, you have Howling Blast, which is an AoE nuke. And let me check that I can safely backpedal. Yep. And basically, you just do this, you spam it, and there's a talent that you can, and it infects the enemies with Frost Feather. And when you infect them with Frost Feather, it makes it so that they move slower, because I have a talent that makes Frost Feather do that. And because of that, I can just act like a... damn it, leave me alone. Yeah, that's like the danger with this, because like everything here, if it hits you, is completely deadly. Well, at least I should be... Well, yeah, that's like the problem. Especially if I'm talking and not careful, because then I end up aggroing other mobs, which proceed to instantly nuke me. But basically you've got these worms there that like have no health and go down pretty quickly, and are massive packs and can be easily kited. And they don't really do much unless unless you let them get pretty close to you. So yeah, so those are the ones I've been farming, and these I cannot attack. Like these worms are basically the only thing that I can even try to kill. So I'm not sure how efficient this is. It's been working kinda well, but I guess I'll see. And I spent too long on this character again. Let me switch. Oh, and my other spec is Blood spec, which is my main non-goof spec, and which you've seen in one of my somewhat recent dungeon crawls. So yeah, let's switch to my druid, I believe, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back and I'm on my druid, and as you can see I'm on a flight path, and I don't even care. My druid is a dual spec like every one of my characters. So the primary specialization is thingy Guardian, which is basically bear, because in case you didn't know, druids used to have three specializations: balance, where you transform into a chicken and you fling balls of light at stuff; restoration, where you used to turn into a tree and you use leaves and plants to heal people; and leather, feral, where you transform into a kitty cat or a bear and either do damage or tank. And yeah, and then in Mist of Pandaria, they split. Let me just do like these breadcrumb quests here. In Mist of Pandaria, they split the feral spec into one for bears, for tanks, and one for damage. So basically, druids are the only class that can do all four roles. Ranged magic damage, melee physical damage, tanking, which is always melee physical, and healing, which is always ranged and magical. And that's the thing. And I'm Spec Guardian because, you know, instant dungeon queues for the win. And Restoration because, well, I don't need a questing off spec stat. And being able to queue for healer as well makes my dungeon queues even more instant. And that's basically all my druid does. And oh, you know how you level a tank? You pull like 7 mobs at a time, and you kill them all, and you win. And you survive. Well, this happened to me like, what, 1 or 2 hours ago. And that's it for my druid. I didn't take 3 minutes for a character. Maybe I'll be able to squeeze this into like at least 40 minutes. So I'll be right back on my hunter. Okay, here I am on my hunter, and I know this looks familiar. This is because Blizzard likes to reuse, likes to exactly reuse models for buildings. And since he's about the same level and also questing Northrend, obviously there's going to be the same types of buildings there, right? And he's spec marksmanship. You can see I have a wolf pet, which is bigger than me. I have this mount because why not? It looks cool. And how do I quest on my hunter? Because that's kind of the thing I've been trying to explain. I one-shot things. How do I do this? Okay, let's find a thing to one-shot. This guy is 72. Fair play, right? Okay. Pet, buff me. Pet, do not interfere. Boom! Headshot. Next one. Whoop, 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 whoop. Boom! Headshot. And by the way, this is guaranteed to happen on every single mob I shoot like this. Like, there's no crit chance or anything involved. I just crit them, and that's all. Now, how does this work? I shall explain. Let me explain. I'm a marksmanship hunter, okay? So, as that spec, I've got a few shots that aren't available to anyone else. Namely, I've got aimed shot, which is, as the tooltip accurately states, a powerful aimed shot, which takes 2.5 seconds to cast, so quite a while. It costs 50 focus, which is half of the bar, so also quite a bit. And it does like somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 damage. Now, how do I get crits every single time? Maybe the next question. This is actually a combination of various stuff working together really well. The first and most important thing that allows this is a passive that I get as that marksmanship hunters get, which is called Careful Aim, and which, as the tooltip states, but you probably can't read it because, you know, YouTube basically gives me 75% crit chance on those two shots, aimed shot and steady shot, on targets that have mostly full health. Okay, so 75% increased crit chance. Now let's look at my actual crit chance. 23.88% because I derped up something and my crit chance isn't as high as it should be. But you can see it's nearly 25%, and actually, if I don't derp up my equipment like I apparently just did, I can actually get to 25% crit chance quite easily. So that's 20% unbuffed, which is actually quite easy because mostly because I'm an agility class, so I get more crit naturally just from my primary stats. So all I have to do is get to 20%, and my pet the buff from my pet here gives me another 5%, and then with Careful Aim I get guaranteed 14,000 damage crits. And you could see that the monsters only had somewhere between 9 and 10,000 health, so obviously I can one-shot everything. And I expect Fervor, which is a 30-second cooldown that gives me focus, so that I could use aim shot even more, because that's like the only problem with it. Okay, on to my next character, which is my Warlock, who is similarly awesome. Like, my Hunter one-shots things, okay? Okay, let's switch to my Warlock. Okay, so we've got this mob here, and... Badoop. Badoop. 2 shot. Oh, this wasn't a lucky critical strike. This thing is guaranteed to crit again. So we got boom. Oh, damn it. That's the one problem. Like, this is, I think this is like the only character build you can do where you can have too much damage. But you can see, even if I'm not able to do my 2-shot combo, I still kill stuff quickly. So how's this work? Well, as I didn't tell you, this is my Warlock, who is level 68, and who is Destruction, because, you know, fire and, you might have guessed that, because, you know, fire and stuff. So, Destruction. Why? Because, well, you just saw the reason. I like 2-shotting stuff, that's why. Why does he... Like, how do I do this? It's very simple, actually. Like, you have these burning embers here, which you generate fractions of using most spells. You can expend them. Like, there's a few ways to expend them. One of them is Chaos Bolt, which takes 3 seconds to cast, so quite a while, and does tons of damage. It does like some around 3,000 damage, and since it always crits, it's actually more like 6 or 7,000. And then one other way to spend them, and also a way to gain them very quickly, is Shadow Burn, which costs 1 ember, like 1 full ember, and if it kills something, you get 2 embers. So basically, if you do Chaos Bolt and then Shadow Burn, it costs no embers, assuming you had like 2 embers to start with, of course. And you kill stuff. And this is usually... Chaos Bolt is usually enough to bring the mob into execute range, that is below 20%, which allows you to use Shadowburn to finish it off, which, you know, basically what I just told you. And that's how I leveled my Warlock. I've started doing that... when have I started doing that? I must have been... I think at some time during Nagran, so like at level 64, 65 or something. That's when I started that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And before that I was leveling as Demonology using Dark Apotheosis, which was pretty cool but kinda slow at killing mobs, so that's why I switched. And now let's go to my next character, and I think it's my Priest. I'll be right back. Okay, this is my Priest. Let's look at the talents first. Discipline is my primary spec, which, in case you don't know, is a healing specialization. Okay, it's a healing specialization. It says it right here. You see, Discipline, healer. Use magic to shield allies and heal their wounds. Okay, a holy is also a healer. My other spec is Shadow. Use sinister shadow magic. Especially damage over time. It spells to eradicate enemies. Well, yeah, kind of. So basically, what's the thing here? For some reason, like, I really don't know how or why this happened, but let me put this straight. While leveling, Shadow sucks balls. If you're like at the somewhat lower levels, like lower than I am right now, you just can't kill. You kill like 2 or 3 mobs and then you're out of mana, which is really, really annoying. At the higher levels, well, you can kill mobs and you don't really have mana problems, but you have mob killing problems because it takes forever to kill a mob, because pretty much all you have are damage over time spells, which, as the name states, are great at doing damage but take a while to do so, which is not really conducive to quickly killing mobs. So yeah. And also, they're kind of weak in dungeons because, okay, look at this. Those are the spells of shadow, okay? So let's look at what they have. So what do they have? They have one AoE spell, a single AoE spell, which is right here. Mind Seer. Which basically is like a channeled spell that does damage in an area around the target. And we get that at level 76. I have no idea what they were thinking. This is stupid. And it's why I don't play Shadow anymore. I just don't. And I have the numbers to back me up as well. This is kind of ridiculous. So you see recount up here. I'm not sure if I can zoom it in, but you can at least see the color of the bars, right? So recount is an add-on that tracks how much damage you've done. So this is my last dungeon run. I haven't really played my priest since, just logged in to take screenshots of this. This is the damage done. This orange guy was a tank, a druid. He did like damage. This guy below me, the white bar, is me. This is, I did almost as much damage as the tank, which is really an accomplishment because tanks do ridiculous damage in dungeons. This was a shadow priest, like some other priest. This was a mage, and this was our paladin healer. Okay, so what happened here? As you can see, I almost did top damage. In fact, I did top damage per second if you look closely. I just had like a few fights at the start that I missed because I was like busy running behind my group because I don't have any really run speed boosts except this, which doesn't last very long. So how did and I was spec'd as a healer, discipline in fact, and the damage is ridiculous. It's seriously ridiculous. But you know what's even worse? Okay, DPS. You can see I'm top here quite easily. And here is healing done. I am top healing done by a large margin. I healed nearly 5 times as much as the actual healer, which is, and I did not use a single healing spell. Like, okay, it's counting the shield here, but I really only used that to, like, okay, I did use it to protect the tank, like, because I can easily use that when we start a fight, but I also used it as a speed boost because it does that, like, it gives a 4 or 5 second speed boost when I cast it because of a talent I have. And so I was using that for this very reason. And the next thing is, well, that's basically it. I then had Atonement, which basically, when you do damage with like your holy spells, you heal a nearby ally. That's where all my healing came from, and all my damage came from 3 spells really, and it's ridiculous, let me tell you. It's also awesome for leveling, because the mana costs are really low. Anyway, I think, since I've been talking 5 minutes on my priest here, I'm gonna switch to the next character, and I shall be right back. Okay, here we go, this is my shaman, and this time I promise it's just gonna be regular old killing stuff. Okay, let's put down our totems, which are these things, which are tied to the various elements and give various buffs. And as you can see, I'm flinging lightning and shocking people, and yeah, that's it. Let's find another thing to attack. Start with a lightning bolt, blast it with fire, hurl a massive gout of lava at it, which is completely invisible because, you know, it's hurling gouts of flame at us, and zap! And it does take a while actually. And I've got one more zap, which is... Wait, I need a mob to properly demonstrate this. Get over here, you. No, man, you're like useless, aren't you? Zap! And more gouts of flame. And this, by the way, is a guaranteed critical strike if the enemy has like this burn on him. And get over here, you. This is like a semi-rare. Oh, and I have this chain lightning. I can play Palpatine. Actually, this works even better if you're max level or closer to max level, because you have like a passive that allows you to copy your spells every so often. And I'm gonna die. Nope. I'm back. Hi. Yeah. You can do this too. It only works like every 10 minutes, but if you die, you don't actually die, you reincarnate. Which is pretty cool. So, yeah. And you can see this character isn't as ridiculously strong as some of the others I've shown you. Like, I actually die on this character. Like, I don't know, it feels kind of off. Like, it feels like I don't have enough spells to use, oddly enough. But, well, I guess it's okay. So this was my shaman. This was short-ish. And I'll be right back with the next character, which is my monk. Yeah, my monk. Be right back. Okay, I'm on my monk now, and I forgot to mention something on my shaman. My off-spec is healing because I can share equipment with my elemental specialization. And right now, as I just said, we are on my monk. Primary specialization is tank, brewmaster. You smash kegs of beer around. It's kind of fun, but it doesn't kill mobs very fast, which is why I took Windwalker, which is melee damage, as my second specialization. And well, let's just go over the moves real quick. This is a it uses energy and chi, which, you know, it's kind of like combo points. And okay, so here's jab, which is just like, you know, bit of damage and gives some chi and costs some energy. Really basic move. This costs a bunch of chi and does damage and has like an extra effect. It heals you if the target's looking at you, and it does more damage if the target's looking away from you. So yeah, this is like you go bong 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 bong. You punch everyone in front of you for a while. This is just like, you know, also pretty basic, but it gives you a buff that lets you ignore, that gives you some armor penetration, so you want to keep that buff up. This heals you and like expels the damage, like, blog, like this just heals you and does damage to a nearby enemy. Blah, that's it. And now to the awesome stuff. Oh, this just gives you extra energy. This redirects all damage you take to the target, which is kind of fun when you're facing like a target that does like lots of damage. Like in World of Warcraft, there's an adage that says don't stand in the fire. Well, if you use this on the boss, you should stand in the fire because you're going to be doing lots of damage to the boss. You should, however, remember to get out quickly enough before it runs out, because it only does like your maximum health worth of damage. And what's really fun about the monk is, okay, let's start at the gate here. Okay, you can see I'm in that gate. Let's just go straight that way. Okay, I'm gonna go boop, roll, roll again, and full range flying serpent kick all the way over here. Like, the mobility is just crazy. Oh, and by the way, this flying serpent kick, the last thing that I did, you can also land early and you're gonna do damage to surrounding enemies. And this here is basically like a chain lightning, except it bounces between, like, it's a mix between chain lightning and chain heal, in that it bounces between enemies and allies. And obviously it like heals allies and damages enemies. And basically it looks like this. And it does good damage and healing, so it's pretty cool. And you can see that the animations are really slick as well. Oh, and these orbs here, like there's orbs that give me chi, which are white, and orbs that heal me, which appear when I kill stuff and under certain other circumstances. There's a bunch of procs, but there's nothing really that changes from that co-rotation. Just use jab to generate chi, keep this buff up, use this fist block whenever it's ready, and otherwise just use the kick, and that's it. And this was my monk, which took way too long, but you know, mobility and stuff. And let's switch over to my rogue, I think. Okay, I'll be right back. Here we go, we're on my warrior now, who is like the second to last character in this video. And he's been sitting up here forever because I pretty much only bother doing dungeons with him, because I've spec'd him as a tank, and warriors make good tanks, but you can see I haven't played him that much. He's only level 37, and he's kind of pretty much the first warrior I'm really playing at all. So yeah, I'm just standing in this beautiful city, looking at stuff, and whenever I fancy it, I press I and press find group, and I'm gonna press leave queue before a group pops, and I do a dungeon. That's basically it. I have a lot of abilities already, like I can bonk someone with my shield. I have like, what, 2 different strikes. Like this one has like a cooldown that gets reset when I avoid an attack. This is like, actually I can show you this one. It's like bonk, and like does damage. And this one's like just a basic normal attack, and this one like heals me and does damage and all sorts of stuff. Lots of stuff. More abilities than global cooldowns is the thing to remember here. Oh, and this here basically is my rage dump, which gives me a guarantee to block everything that hits me. There we go. Which doesn't completely negate the damage, just reduces it by 30%, but it's still pretty awesome. So that was my warrior. And there's nothing much interesting here. So I'll be right back on my rogue, who is last and who's also pretty munchkinned up. Here we are on my rogue, and you can see that this looks similar to, you know, my monk, because this is also an ogre cave. And he is in Feralis, and he's level 36, and in which way is he munchkinned up? Well, let's find a mob, like some random unsuspecting mob, like this guy, you. You're my target now. You shall die. You must die. Bloop. Hey, leave me alone. This is how it works. Okay, so what was this? Lengthy explanation incoming. So, how does this work? I'm specialized as subtlety, which increases my damage while in stealth, and in general is all about sneaking around and stuff. So what happens here? I've got a bunch of things that work very nicely together. So as a rogue you have combo points which are associated with the target. Maybe they're still left on that one over there. Nope. But basically they show up over here. You can have up to 5 of them against the target. This rogue you also have a stealth, which lasts as long as you don't break it, and basically allows you to sneak around and enemies basically can't see you. And yeah. So how does this all work together? There's a bunch of abilities that are only usable in stealth. Those are called openers. And those typically are very strong, because you can only use them at the start of a fight, because you can't stealth back mid-fight normally. So openers are typically very strong, and they normally give 2 combo points. So you can see by cheap shot, stuns for 4 seconds, which is quite a bit, and awards 2 combo points. And ambush does a lot of damage and also does 2 combo points. It does 527% of weapon damage, which is insane. It's a lot. Okay, so what else is there? There's also premeditation, which is not real an opener. It's got a 20-second cooldown and just gives 2 combo points. This is a subtlety ability, which is pretty good. It's not strictly necessary for my build, but I tend to use it just to be safe. And so the way this works is normally, as soon as you attack, you break stealth. Except you don't, because I've spec'd Subterfuge, which makes my stealth break 3 seconds later than it normally would. So I get to use 2 openers. So I start with cheap shot, so 4 seconds of stun where I'm completely safe. I must have found like some weird macro to LD at some point. So cheap shot, right? Stuns for 4 seconds, gives 2 combo points, and then I still have enough energy left, and I'm in stealth, so it's not a problem. And I'm also and I can also sneak behind the target easily because they're stunned, so I can do my tons of damage. Now, what makes this even better is this passive, where after I use an opener, I basically get to ignore 100% of the enemy's armor for 10 seconds. So basically I do cheap shot and then I do a massive true damage. And then I can use a finisher which is also going to be true damage, which is also going to be massive because finishers just are massive at 4 or 5 combo points. And that's how this works. And now there's one more thing here, which is 2 buffs that you should try to keep up. There's this, which is basically an attack speed buff, and it's a finisher. And this is the specialty that since it's not targeted, it actually eats combo points on like any nearby enemy instead of just on your targets. And this here is a heal over time, which is actually pretty potent, which also is a finisher that works similarly. Now normally you wouldn't really get to use them because like mobs wouldn't die with combo points on them. So basically because normally you should use a finisher to kill them. However, what you can do is you can take this glyph, which was actually quite expensive. This cost me like 600 gold, which is quite a lot for a level 36 character, but you know, I think it's worth it for the smoothness of leveling. And basically when I kill an enemy, these 2 buffs are refreshed, so that's pretty cool. And lastly, I actually got a heirloom weapon with a level 90 enchant. Now I wasn't the understanding that the enchant didn't scale down, but it does. But it's still a very good enchant, so I've decided to like not be too worried about that. And it's good. And I kill stuff really quickly. And I think that concludes the tour through all of my characters. I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing which characters I have and what they do, and how in various ways they're all like munchkined up. And I'll skip back to the character list for the like ending. Okay, so here's my character list, and let's look at them all. My paladin, first level 90, first level 85. Actually I leveled my mage to 77 when I got Cataclysm, then I got bored of her. I power leveled him all the way to 85 and he became my main character with that. That's what happened. Also, funny story, when I first logged in after buying Cataclysm, I killed literally 1 spider and I didn't level 20. So yeah. So here's my paladin, farmed up, mostly purple equipment by now. Purple means epic quality, by the way. Mostly purple equipment by now. Tank just doesn't die. Mage, kinda got sick of her because killing mobs took so long, because Blizzard, what are you doing? DK, kind of funny, like leveling in the level 90 area, which doesn't really work that well, but I guess I'm doing it for the novelty. And okay. My hunter, one-shotting stuff. He is a true sniper, a single headshot and mobs die. This is awesome, by the way. It's like super fun. Yesterday I had a quest to kill 15 enemies. I accepted it. I was talking to my friend over Skype. I was like, yeah, okay, I was like, we were about to do like one of the old raids. I think it was Blackwing Lair, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm coming. I'll just go hand in these 5 quests I have. And while flying over there to hand them in, I noticed that a quest that was just out in the world. I took it. It was kill 15 mobs. I was like, oh sure, okay, I'll try to do that. And like a minute later I was, wow, what? I'm already done. And this was pretty awesome. Okay. Druid also tank, not as much of a just doesn't die quality as my paladin or even my DK, but you know, it's okay. It's a good tank. I mostly do dungeons really, but leveling like just questing seems to work quite well too. Warlock, one-shotting stuff is actually bad on a Warlock because you don't get your embers back, so two-shotting stuff, which is cool and also really fast. And actually it's even smoother than the Hunter because I don't have to do anything for my focus to come back. My Priest, Blizzard Priests are broken in 2 ways. Shadow Priests suck and Discipline Priests are OP. While leveling, that is. I don't know if they should fix that. They should at least fix the Shadow being broken, and I don't get why they get the AoE only at level 76. That seems just outright stupid to me, but well, who am I to judge? Shaman, kind of balanced, not really super awesome, not really that weak either. Like, It feels a bit clunky sometimes. I can't really tell why. Monk, it's fun running around bashing heads in and also just not dying, even though I'm just a DPS class, but you know, self-heals for the win. Warrior, a true tank, a true defender. Like, look at him. He's got like this big scary shield, this awesome armor. Especially that, look at that helmet. It looks neat. And just a stick with a with a clump of metal on the end for a weapon. It looks pretty cool. And you know, to make a bad pun here, tanks should look beefy, and he looks beefy. Excuse me, I'll show myself out. Rogue, sneaky, booga booga booga. Like, stuff dies before it even gets out of stun. And that was the overview over all of my characters in World of Warcraft. That was a long thing to say. I thank you all for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not entirely sure. I've got mixed feelings about this, but well, I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in my next video, and until then, take it easy.